Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. We are back again with another episode. Please make sure to check out another episode that I posted on Trends. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that one of our admin received. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. The message, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I am a man that comes from Mpumalanga. That was where I was born and I was raised. My father, he was a prophet. My father used to go to the Shambe church and he tried to start his own church, but things did not go very well. My father even went to Mozambique because he was told that when you go to Mozambique, you can be given some spiritual powers. When he returned back, my father then said that the charms that he had been given, those charms were for him to make money to be able to feed his own family. So my father's story is where all of the rituals started. I grew up in that situation where I used to see my father performing rituals before he would do a business deal. Even just to sign a contract, he would first do a ritual. He would take the contract and bring it back home, and he used to put the piece of paper in a clay pot, and after he would have put the piece of paper in a clay pot, then he would return back and he would sign the contract. That was the rule that my father used to follow at all the times. But I have come here with my own confession, my own personal story. So I am one of those men who rose from nothing to everything almost in a flash. My father, when he passed away, even though he was a businessman, all that he left for me were business connections, but he did not leave something like for me for money or anything, just his friends that wanted to connect me in business. So I knew that here in Mpumalanga, there were those that were getting involved in coal tenders. And I knew that if I was going to get a tender, it was going to change my life. And after my father had passed away, because of the rituals that he was doing, he did not tell us how to properly do these rituals, because he used to go in the forest where he would go and leave some of these charms, but he did not tell us how to go and leave those charms so that you can keep on making money. And the things of rituals, once you stop honoring the rituals, then the money will return back to the spiritual realm. My father had left a house for us, but that house, we had to sell it because we were unable to pay the bond. So we started staying in a shack from the suburbs, and we started staying in the shack at my grandparents' house. And we were staying in a place that is called Emalahleni, and it was really difficult growing up. I do not want to lie to you, because we were used to staying in the suburbs, and here we were. By 2009, life was very difficult. I almost had nothing, just an old Nokia phone, and all that I wanted was just to be successful in life. By 2015, I was trying by all means to get a better life, and I wanted to be someone, but all of a sudden life started changing. I was now driving a Range Rover, and I was enjoying life each and every day, just sipping on my Johnny Walker Blue Label, whilst there were other men that were begging me for jobs. The contracts came to me through the blood rituals that I did. Yes, indeed, I want to confess that there were other times that I had to grease the hands of the people that were going to offer me the contract, and I did whatever that I had to do so that I can become successful. When I hit my first tender, this was after I had gone to Mozambique. I went there with a cousin of mine. This cousin of mine, he was working at a municipal office, and he told me that there were people that were getting a lot of tenders. Him being a government worker, he was unable to get one. So we then went to Mozambique together so that we can be strengthened. And when we returned back, I submitted my documents and one thing led to another. I was soon transporting coal to Eskom. Money was pouring into my account like a river. We bought houses in Centon, Pretoria East, and I even bought a farm for my cousin in Dalmas. That is what he wanted to do, to keep cattle and to take them to the auctions. And this money that I was making, it did not come clean. It was not clean money. So whenever I would go to Mozambique, I would be told to sleep with a mad woman. We would drive for hours and hours until I would have met a mad woman. Then I would take that mad woman, even by force, to the mountains. So I ended up sleeping with a mad woman that had gonorrhea. This happened, it was in the year 2018. All along I was okay. Unfortunately, I ended up sleeping with a woman that had gonorrhea. She was a mad woman. I don't know who had given her this STI. After a little while, I started to feel my private part. It was burning. I returned back to Mozambique, but I had already made a mistake to go to the hospital. I went to the private doctor, my personal private doctor, who gave me some pills, and I was okay. And I had to go to Mozambique because the infection was back again. I knew that this was spiritual, since I was already a man that was dealing in a lot of spiritual stuff. When I went there, I was then told that since I had gone to the doctors, I had already messed up my rituals. I then said, so what is going to happen to me? I was then told that when you have gonorrhea that you have been given by a mad woman during your rituals, then you have to be at the shrine the first thing in the morning. And I was like, how was I supposed to know? And that traditional healer said, didn't you know that when you have your pee that is burning, you should have come here to me instead of waiting? I just thought that maybe it was just an infection that was going to go away, and I was told that this was what was going to happen to me for the rest of my life. I was forever going to be like this, to have gonorrhea that is drug resistant and you cannot cure it. I have tried to go to different doctors. I have even paid 10K to different doctors. You think that sometimes money can cure anything. One doctor said to me, an Indian doctor, he said to me, this type of gonorrhea, it is a drug-resistant strain of gonorrhea. It does not respond to normal treatment. There is no easy cure. So this is what I do. I sleep with women. Most of these women that I know that I meet at different clubs, I know that they will be chasing after my money. I take them to my penthouse in Centon, and one after then another, each and every night when I am with a different woman, I make sure that I sleep with that woman without using any protection so that I can give that woman gonorrhea. And I was told by the traditional healer that the more that I sleep with these women unprotected sex, then it means that I am going to be making more money. So men, especially you broke guys that love to date these women that love things, you are going to suffer from many STIs that you do not even know where they come from. Take for an example, you are dating a buddy, your girlfriend that love to hang around men that have money like me. She comes to me with the intentions for me to buy her alcohol, for me to give her money. Alcohol and money to me, it is nothing. But when I take her to a hotel, when I take him to my house, then I will sleep with him. I don't use any protection. That one she has to know. And most of these women, they will agree as long as there is money on the table. But what she wants know and understand is that I am going to give her gonorrhea, for it cannot be cured. It is something that is spiritual. The same way that I got it without knowing, the same way that I give it to other women so that they can suffer the same way that I am suffering. I feel sorry for the broke guys that will be dating all of these women that I sleep around with. Again, I repeat, To all the broke boys, stay away from these women, those that you know very well that they are slay queens. They want to be seen with richer boyfriends, yet she tells you that you are the one that she loves, even if she goes and spends some time with all of these rich men. Stay away from him. Apart from rituals, how about the STI that I will give to him? Will you have the resources to get yourself cured? As for me, even though it is uncurable, but I have the resources. When I feel pain, there are other medications that I can take that are very expensive. A wife I do not have. Kids, yes indeed, I do have kids with 2 different women. These were the women that I slept with and impregnated before I had gone back to Mozambique to sleep with that mad woman who eventually gave me gonorrhea. Even when I picked up that mad woman, my heart was telling me no, but there was this other big meeting that I was supposed to get back to. It was a stakeholders meeting that was going to be held in Durban. So I was in a rush. I had left South Africa. It was on a Wednesday when I had left South Africa, and I came back on a Friday. So on Thursday, that is when I slept with that woman. It was just a quick thing. I rushed with her to the mountains. She did not fight with me like what other mad women used to do. Whenever I would be sleeping with them, they would fight, they would kick, they would do whatever. But this woman, she was very different. She even said that she wanted us to have romance first, and she was speaking in Portuguese, but I understood her very well. I slept with her on top of a rock inside of this other cave that I had taken her to, and we slept together. After that, I had this other small banana leaf that I used to wipe my private part. Then after that, I wiped off a private part and I folded it and I put it in my pockets. This woman, I just left her in the mountain as she was wandering around. She even thought that she was inside of a very beautiful bedroom, and I left her sitting on that rock and I went to my car. I drove back to the village, which was about 45 minutes from where I was with that woman, and I went and I gave that banana leaf to that traditional healer. This is what I always do whenever I sleep with a mad woman. When I came back, like I told you, that was when I felt that my manhood was very hot. As someone that is always sleeping with many women, I thought that maybe it was just a normal infection. I did not know that this was spiritual that was about to happen. This is my warning to everyone. Stick to a woman that has good character. Before you date a woman, ask, learn what that woman is all about before you start sticking your thing into her private part. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Let us try to talk about this in the comment section. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Then there is another message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. The message, it reads like this. Hello brother Nanshi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I came here to South Africa when I was only 16 years old, and I started to stay with one of my sister. My sister, she was married and she had her own husband, but they had met here in South Africa, but they were both Zimbabweans as I am. When I was staying with them, the man, the things that he used to do, it was not nice, but he made me to feel other things, and I started sleeping with other men in the location. There was this other pastor. He was from Zim. He had came as a donor. He had came to work at this other Pentecostal church, and a lot of South Africans were going to that church. But this is what this man told me to do, asked me to do. This church right now, it is a very big church. I'm scared to mention the name of that church because I don't know what people are going to say and how they are going to react. So I started dating this pastor after I had gone to that church with this other man, a Zimbabwean man that I was dating. He used to do some piece jobs. He told me that there was a piece job and he wanted me to assist him. I then went there and we started to work with each other. Whilst we were working there, the same pastor, the way that he was looking at me, he was very interested in me in a very weird way. When I went to fetch some water because I wanted to give him a chance to speak with me, he then followed me and he started talking to me, and he said that he wanted my phone numbers. I then gave him my phone numbers. That is when we started sleeping with each other. What would surprise me was that he did not have any respect for the house of God, because whenever I would go to see him, I used to go and see him late at night. When I would go to see him, he would say, let us sleep with each other. He did not even care. We would sleep with each other on the church benches, on the church chairs, on the pulpit, on the stage, doing many styles in church. Then, when I was on my period one day, when I had gone to see him, because I wanted to borrow some money from him, I told him that unfortunately, even though he was about to give me money, he should not expect me to sleep with him on that night because I was not feeling okay. He asked me what was wrong, and I told him that I was on my period, and he was like, okay, it's fine. Do not worry. I can sleep with you like that. I was so worried that he wanted to sleep with me, yet I was on my period. So then I finally agreed because I wanted the money. He was like, you want money but you do not want to sleep with me. Do you think that it is even fair? I then said, okay, it's fine. Let us sleep with each other. He said that he wanted us to do this in church. So on the pulpit, there was this other cloth. It was a gold yellowish like cloth that they had put on top of the pulpit. That was the cloth that they had as a decor. So he then told me that he wanted me to hold the pulpit bending over, and he was behind me and we were sleeping like that. When he was done, what he did was that he took that golden cloth and he started to wipe me with that golden cloth. And I said, but I have blood down there. Even his manhood, it was full of blood. We did not switch the lights on the whole church, but he had switched on the torch of his phone, saying that he wants to see me so that he can enjoy a little bit. So I said, when I turned around and I said, look, your manhood is full of blood. Can you see? How are you going to clean this cloth? He then said, do not worry about anything. I know what I'm going to do. He then wiped it off, and later on, when I went to see him the next day, I saw that the cloth that they used to put on the pulpit, it was on the washing line. He had washed off the blood, and that was the beginning of me always sleeping with him, holding the pulpit, even when I was on my period. The way that people started to come to that church, it was just amazing. And there were a lot of people that were filthy rich that would come to that church. This church grew. It used to be in the location. They then moved the headquarters of the church because it used to be a very small church, sort of like a location church, you know, those small churches that never grow. The way that they were growing, they would even put a tent outside until they started to have their church in Joburg CBD. Like I said, I cannot tell you the name of that church because I even fear for my life. This man, when the church was all grown, when it was all big, the last time that I saw him, he was driving a Ford Ranger. He came to the location and he avoided me. I thought that he had came to see me, but rather he had came to give people flyers so that they can start coming to that new church. When I tried to approach him, the way that he just ignored me, he just looked at me once and he said, oh, how are you, sister? We are inviting you to our church. And he even gave me a flyer. He was on that same flyer, and I knew that this man, he had just used me, and when he saw that he was done with me, he then dumped me. As I'm speaking with you right now, this man, I heard that he is no longer in South Africa. He went to Europe, where he was given a task to start another church, since there are a lot of people from our country that are migrating to Europe. So I heard that this church, it wants to have another branch there in Europe. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.